There's two metaphors that are helpful for understanding the difference between personal and universal identity or consciousness. And both metaphors describe things in terms of consciousness, because it's pretty clear that without consciousness, like when we're unconscious, there is nothing. There is no personal identity when you're unconscious. So, consciousness is the basis for every discussion that we can have about personal identity. So the first metaphor is the idea that universal consciousness is an ocean that goes on forever and ever in all directions. And so in personal consciousness, meaning you and me, the idea is that we're all waves. So there's the ocean of universal consciousness, and then there's all of us with our personal consciousnesses, and we're all waves on the surface of the ocean. So if you think about the birth of a wave, like that it rises up from the ocean and it appears to separate a little bit from the ocean, like to be its own thing, but clearly it's still just a part of the ocean. So some waves are just little waves and some waves are really big waves, but each wave has its own story, right? Like where it's from, just meaning where it first separated from the ocean, and then each wave has its own path or its own trajectory, and then when each wave is done being a wave, it just goes back down, and you can no longer tell the difference between the wave and the ocean uh, that the wave came from. The wave is gone, and yet it's not, right? I mean, we know clearly, like, the wave is still a part of the ocean, it's just been transformed into some other part of the ocean. So in this metaphor, each of us are like a wave, and some of us are small and some of us are big, and we all have where we're from, and we all have where we first rose up from the ocean and our own trajectory or the path that we're on. And we all really believe that the wave is all we are, but we're actually the entire ocean. We're just having the experience from the vantage point of the wave. It's kind of like the ocean decided to experience itself as a wave. Like, I wonder what it would be like to experience myself as this kind of wave, like right here. Hmm. And you have your thoughts and your feelings, and someone else, someone other wave has their thoughts and their feelings. And each of you has your vantage points or your backgrounds, like where you first rose up from the ocean and your path, your trajectory, and where you're at now. And you might be really different from the other wave, right? And so you might look at the other wave and be like, that wave is really strange, or that wave is really weird. But fundamentally, obviously, even though that wave doesn't make any sense, we're clearly still just the ocean. We're all those waves are just the ocean, and all of us are just the ocean. And what keeps us feeling like we're just a wave rather than realizing that we're the whole ocean, like what keeps us attached to our personal consciousness, is our personal story. And our personal story, the story about this is who I am and where I'm from and what I've been through, like this is who I am. And so just like the wave is only a part of the ocean, your personal consciousness is only a part of universal consciousness. And so the idea here is that the fullness of who you are is universal consciousness. And that's the wave metaphor. And then the second metaphor is a water droplet metaphor. And here, your personal consciousness is a little water droplet. Like, experience, just picture a little water droplet, but inside the ocean. But this little water droplet is experiencing itself as separate from the ocean of universal consciousness. So before you're a water droplet, you're just a part of the ocean. And you become separate from the ocean when you wrap a blanket around you. And the blanket is your personal story. And our personal stories are just that, meaning the stories that we tell ourselves and others about who we are. So when you first meet someone and you're getting to know them and you tell them about who you are, that's your story. And so all of our identity content, like our thoughts and our feelings and our beliefs and our memories and our social roles, the story is like a container for all of those parts of our identity, for all of our identity content. The story is what holds it all together. And we use our story for communicating to others about who we are. And we also use it for communicating to ourselves about who we are. And when we identify with this story, it becomes like a little blanket that we wrap around ourselves. And we say, I'm just this little drop of water. I am no longer this ocean of universal consciousness. I am just a tiny drop of water. And this is my story. And from then on, we really believe that the little droplet is all that we are. Thank you for tuning in. I see you. I appreciate you. Until next time. Namaste.